Hi everyone, welcome to the RemoteGRAD channel. I'm Marie, the founder of RemoteGRAD, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. It's awesome to have you here, and I'd like to say before we get into the video, um, I'm going to be saying a lot, so this is going to be largely raw and unedited, me sharing my thoughts about my coding bootcamp a year on. But I'd like to say also, please bear with me, like whilst video is exciting, it's also quite new to me, so if I'm looking in all different directions, that's why. So yeah, I'd like to give some context before I get into it. So I did a coding bootcamp last year in 2019, so from October to December. I did the Lewagen coding bootcamp. So yeah, I guess I should say Lewagon with a kind of French accent. So I did it in Milan. I live in London, but I decided to do it in Milan because the time worked out. The time worked best, and yeah, so Lewagen is based around. It started in France, in Paris specifically, with three friends, and is it's all over. It's all around the world now. So it's in Europe, Australasia, Asia. It's got quite a good worldwide community. So I'm not going to go into too many details about like the day-to-day aspects of the boot camp and things like that. If you are interested in doing it and you would like to find out more, then I'll put the link in the description box so that you can actually see like the course syllabus and what a typical day looks like. What I'm going to be talking about here is the learnings and the insights and everything I've had 1 year since the bootcamp. So also, you can see the reflection of my laptop screen, my glasses, and this is because I'm recording with my laptop and I have my notes on my laptop so that it's easy for me to keep on track and not go off on too many. Not go off on too many tangents. I may go off on tangents because that's kind of what I like to do, but the notes are going to help me steer me back onto the path. So I'll give a bit more context. So like I said, I did the boot camp in Italy because it worked out best for me calendar wise. And yeah, so before I did the boot camp, so this is important to mention. So before I did the boot camp, I had done a little bit of web development. I did a few of the exercises on Codecademy, but because I told myself I'd always wanted to learn how to code, and I told myself, okay, Mamrie, do a few of the exercises on Codecademy first to make sure that you're actually serious about this, because you may relate to this, but I'm the type of person, I have so many ideas and I want to pursue so many different things. So I often will give myself certain, like, what's the word, milestones or things to kind of check in with myself. Okay, this is something I'm actually serious about. So I did a few of the projects and I decided, okay, I'm going to do Lewagen coding bootcamp, and I did it. So this is another thing to mention. So at the time, I was looking at two different coding bootcamps. So I was looking at an online one. I will link it because I can't remember the name right now, but I will also link it in the bio. I was going to do an online one. It was a fraction of the price of the Lewagen one, and the reason why is because it looked really good. So it was like a project based. It's project based, and the founders, I can't really remember too much, but like I said, I'll link it below. But basically, I was going to do that one, but then I was speaking to someone who I met on a self-development course I did earlier, and he mentioned that another lady on the self-development course, so his friend, had done Lewagen, so he put me in contact with her, and so that was great because I was able to actually ask someone who had done the course what it was like, all those questions. Okay, like, what is it like, how difficult is it, the day-to-day and everything, and she was like singing high praises about it and everything, and it was awesome because this was someone who I could actually ask questions. And reading reviews is awesome, but you really also like to hear from someone who's actually done the course or actually had direct experience. So I got in contact with her. She was giving me lots of helpful feedback, and just general things to keep in mind. And so I decided to do LeWagon. So also something to mention, that bear with me if I'm going in different tangents. There's just lots to say. So yeah, please listen with an open mind and an open heart. So I decided to do the bootcamp. Also, before I did it, I knew that I wanted to, basically I was kind of into having a software company, because from what I had seen, it provided the flexibility I wanted, and also let me have the kind of lifestyle I want in terms of like earning and a really good living, and being able to do different things with that kind of, with the resources that come from having a good living, and also being able to work and work from anywhere in the world, because I'm really into remote working, hence RemoteGRAD. I had my first ever remote job when I was in second year of uni, and from there it just changed my perspective of working. So I knew, okay, I had in my mind, okay, I want to have a software company, and I want to be able to understand like the code and what's happening and things like that. And that's another reason why I chose LeWagon, is because LeWagon is very, what's the word? As something that's just coming to my mind is, I hope people don't butcher me for my pronunciation of LeWagon. I know it's French, but I'm just going to say it how I say it. So I knew that I wanted to have a software company thereabouts. So I wanted to understand like the code and how everything, like the behind the scenes, front end and back end. So that's also why I did LeWagon. Another reason is because they're very like entrepreneurial, product based. So they teach you how to not just build websites, but build like web applications. So which are the basis of like software companies. Is you have an application that you can do things with. So a software application that you can like charge, you can offer a service, a software service basically, that is, I'm not really explaining this part properly, but if you know about software and you know what I'm trying to get to. If not, I will link. If you don't, that's no worries at all. I will link some great explanations of what I'm talking about in terms of software and that. So okay, back to the actual back to the what I wanted to mention. So that was the kind of the behind the scenes of me deciding to do LeWagon. So it was 9 weeks. I thought, great, okay, let me do it. So like I said, I'm not going to go too much into the actual day-to-day. I'll put the link so that you can read about like the syllabus and what the day-to-day looks like. But all in all, LeWagon was an amazing experience, challenging but great in terms of growth, because it really like stretched me in terms of being able to face challenges, recognizing kind of my response to challenges, because you every day you have like daily, you have like, I guess, the theory in the form of a lecture, and then you have exercises, challenges that you do in order to actually like implement what you've learned in the morning. And then, so that's for the first, I think, like 6 weeks. This was a year ago, so if I've got a few of these details wrong, bear with me. But then the last 2 weeks of the 9-week course, 2-3 weeks, you focus on projects, so building projects in teams. So in terms of growth, of learning how to face challenges, working a team, all of this, it was perfect for that. How to build a product holistically, so understanding about, okay, this isn't just a website or an application, this is something that's providing a service. So thinking about future customers, future users, marketing and things like that. So it's really a great holistic course. And I'm going to focus on four main things, four key takeaways I learned from doing the LeWagon course. So the 4 key takeaways, the first one is that we learn by doing. And I guess this is a really obvious one, but the reason I say this is because so when I did LeWagon, I had graduated from university 3 months before, and so I studied in the UK, and I did a semester abroad in Ecuador and then also in China, summer school in China. But it really opened my eyes in terms of education system in the UK and also in, I guess, in China and then in like South America, Ecuador, because I realised that, let me just speak about the UK experience. So I went to Durham University and then I transferred to King's. And what I've learned is that university is an awesome experience. I mean, we all know it has its pros and cons. I think that what I learned from university is that we're still very much in like the theoretical side of like learning, like where you have like lectures and you sit for hours listening, whereas I guess in the real world things are really just a question of, can you do this, yes or no? And the reason I say this, I'll explain a bit more. The reason I say this is because, for example, in LeWagon, I think part of the reason why it was so effective and such a great experience is because you actually had to it wasn't just about sitting and listening to somebody explain to you about how to create a function in like JavaScript or something. I mean, you did do that for like a small part of the day, but then you'd have to actually put it into practice by building something, and there's no better way, but also there's no like more challenging way. Is that good English? I don't know, but there's no better way to learn something than by actually like putting it into practice. So that was a really great experience for growing. It was difficult at times, but it's like once you actually have a project to build, then you can really know whether you understand something. So yes, the first point, and that is also an analogy I like to use is the idea of like when you learn how to drive or learn how to ride a bike. I mean, you can read books and theorize, but you still have that practical element. You still have to get in the car or get on the bike and actually like do it. So the idea of embodying the knowledge that you have by doing is really important. And I think that's something that we're not really taught at university. It's very much like, I mean, in a way you kind of are, because you like write essays based on what you know, you have like critical thinking. I studied philosophy and Spanish, by the way. So yeah, I have that kind of humanities side, but also with the coding and doing maths at A-level, I have the more like technical side as well. So yeah, that's the first point, learning by doing. And that's why the RemoteGRAD course that I've created is really it's really practical in the sense it's not hours and hours of just listening to someone speak. It's saying, okay, right, you want to have a portfolio, don't just read about how to create a portfolio, actually just create it. Or you want to learn how to develop these digital skills. For example, you want to learn the digital skill of web design or search engine optimization. So it's okay, create a conceptual project, a fictional project, whatever you want to call it, and actually implement the skills you learn that you have by doing the project, because that's how you learn. And that leads me on to the second point. The second takeaway that I got a year on from doing the coding bootcamp is that the future of work really is project-based. And what I mean by that, so project-based is really the idea of so work as a place where you're not just doing busy work, you're actually creating projects, bringing ideas to life, doing things that you have something tangible to show for it. And the reason why I say the future of work is project-based is because nowadays, so when we think about, okay, coronavirus is really, we know coronavirus, unprecedented times, etc., etc., has really changed the way we view work. I mean, I believe that these changes are always coming, but now they're really here. And the reason why this makes it project-based is because, think about it, if a company is hiring, somebody in, for example, let's say a US company is hiring a software developer in the Philippines because they want doesn't matter about the reasons, but they're hiring a software developer in the Philippines. It's going to be project based because they just want to know, can this developer deliver? It's like, that's just the basic, the bottom line. Can this software developer deliver? Can they deliver the various milestones or various, deliverables? So can they first deliver like the mock-ups? Can they deliver the wireframes? Can they deliver the database schema? All of that stuff, can they deliver essentially? I keep repeating it, but I think that it's becoming more and more obvious to me that we're living in a world where now employers, if you're working for a company, or clients, if you're doing freelancing or if you have an online business, they just want to know, what can you do for me, in a way. And when I say it like that, it sounds a bit selfish, but it's just, I think we want to cut out a lot of the unnecessary things and be efficient. So this efficiency spreads out in all areas of society, and one of those places is in the workplace, in the professional setting. So the idea of being project-based is really important, and especially if you are a university student or recent grad, or you've done a coding bootcamp, or you're looking to digitally upskill yourself, it's really important to have this in mind. And I mean, yes, certificates are great. Yes, the theory is great, but you just need to deliver. And that's why, I mean, we know creating is it's easy to do everything else but create, because there's so many different limiting beliefs. You've got inner critic, doubt, fear, etc., etc. But being able to push through all of that and actually have a project idea, bring it to life, have a project idea, and overcome all the different challenges that arise. Because trust me, there's so many different challenges that arise that you have no idea are going to show up, and then they show up and you're like, oh my gosh, and you just have to find a way. But through that, you learn so much. So yeah, this is really important to, if you are looking for a junior remote job, or like I said, digitally upskill, or you want to start freelancing, whatever it is, keep this in mind. So this is a great way to build your skill, build your portfolio, by focusing on projects, that really showcase what you can do, not just certificates that say that this is what you can do, actually showing what you can do. So yeah, that was the second point. The third point is, it's really important to have clear in your mind. I mean, this is back to the kind of the actual, if you are looking to do a coding bootcamp, or even not even just a coding bootcamp. I know there's other types of bootcamps that are coming about nowadays. So maybe it's a bootcamp to do with marketing, or it's a bootcamp to do with copywriting. Making sure that you have clear in your mind, okay, what is it I'm going to do? And I guess these are quite broad categories, but the three broad categories that you could fall into is, either you want to be a junior remote, not necessarily a junior to mid remote worker for a company, or you want to be a freelancer, so you want to go solo and work with clients directly. Or the third one is, you want to start an online business. So I've done all three, and right now I have an online business, I have a web agency, and I'm really enjoying it. And then also on RemoteGRAD. So I'm I guess, in the third category, but I've also had a junior remote job, and I've also done freelancing. So I really recognize why it's important to have that clear. And the reason why I say that is it's important to have that clear before doing a course is because I've seen it. I've seen time and time again where people do a coding boot camp, but because they're not quite sure what it is they want to do afterwards, they find it difficult they find it difficult like getting a job or landing clients. That's not the only reason, but it's just one of them that contributes to it. So I think making sure you're crystal clear, or even if you're not super clear, but just have an idea, okay, I have an idea that I kind of want to do freelancing, or have an idea that I want to work in a company, and keeping that in mind as you're doing a boot camp. Or if you're not doing a boot camp, if you've decided, okay, you want to discipline yourself and set time aside to build projects, having that clear is very, very important and will really be very, very helpful for you. So yeah, and now that remote working is really part of our future, I also think that the gig economy is, I never do like, this is the proper way to do quotation marks, isn't it? The gig economy is I think is really here to stay. There's so many reports that show, okay, like more and more of work is going to be like this kind of, people are going to be like more like, I like the word like multi-hyphenate, like in terms of their career. So people might have like side hustles, or have like a part-time full job, or quarter-time full job, but then have like side hustles around. So yeah, I think that's where the future of work is going, and I think that's why it's also important to be clear kind of where you see yourself, because then you know how to position yourself. If you're going to be a junior remote worker, then it's like, okay, for you, networking is very important, and you can probably start that before going on the boot camp. Like networking on places like LinkedIn, Twitter, like some of the conversations on Twitter are incredible. That's also that's really important. And then what else? Just trying to think. And then making sure like things such as your CV are up to scratch, your portfolio up to scratch. But then if you are more like the kind of freelancer, solopreneur, online business owner, then the focus then will be, okay, building a portfolio, because that's what clients want to see is what have you done before, what can you do? And of course that takes time, so you can build conceptual projects, but these are just things to have in mind as you are, if you're doing a boot camp, if you think that that's the route you want to go down. And then the fourth and final point is, and this is one of my absolute favourites, I could spend a lot of time speaking about this, but it's to really think beyond the technical skills. And the reason I say this is because, so I really believe we're experiencing huge shifts right now, and which are going to be here for decades to come, and we can see that the way we work, the way we think about work, the way we think about home life, the way we think about the work-life balance is really changing. And because of this, who we are at work is very important. I think that now that the kind of the office, the idea of working in the office is, it's probably never going to completely go, but it's kind of fading into the background. I think that it's more important than ever to make sure that your soft skills are like very, very, very good. Because think about it, if, for example, if an employer can hire anybody from anywhere in the world, or a client can go choose any freelance or business to work with all over the world, you have to think about it from their position. Why would they want to choose you? And I'm not saying this in a negative way. There's many reasons why they want to choose you. The reason I believe that they would want to choose you is because of your unique, what makes you unique, what makes you shine, what makes you you, essentially, that kind of the essence of you that makes you so unique and so attractive to people who kind of have common interests or common ways of viewing the world. And the reason that this relates to the working world is, because now it's not just enough to just say, okay, I can code. It's like, okay, you can code, awesome, but can you work well in a team? Can you listen to people's ideas? Can you communicate well? Can you collaborate? Are you empathetic? Do you have a big picture of what you want for yourself? Do you have like good time management skills? Are you responsive? I could go absolutely on, but I think that this is really important for people to really think about, is that now as the world becomes more and more remote, the workplace becomes increasingly digital, it's not just enough to just do your work. People are also looking to connect with people who they work with on a deeper level. And I think this is now why more than ever, it's really important. And this is what I've built into the RemoteGRAD course, is seeing how your passions and interests, or just not even, I know people have mixed feelings about their word passions, but just seeing how what really makes you light up can be combined with your digital skill to produce value in the world. Because we all want to work with people who shine. We all want to work with people who are just feel comfortable being themselves, who are open, who are honest, who are authentic. And I think this is the thing, is when you put yourself out there more and more, you begin to attract opportunities, clients, employers who are genuinely interested in who you are, what you stand for, because you're just being yourself. And I think that this is where it's really important now to really start to think, okay, beyond a boot camp or beyond digitally upskilling yourself, are you being someone that people want to work with, that people are inspired by? And I believe that everybody is inspirational, everybody is amazing, everybody is gifted, talented. I believe we're all born so amazing and so unique. But what happens is we learn different things, different things happen, and we create different stories in our mind that make us change who we really are between the ages of 0 to 7. And the reason why I say this is because, like, understanding the mind and realizing that our minds are basically computers. Our minds are the program of our mind is basically the stories we tell ourselves, which is what drives our subconscious mind. And the reason that this is important to really start to think about is because, again, like I said, in a world where we have access to anybody and everybody in a way, we want to give ourselves the best chances to have a career that is fulfilling, a career that lights us up, work with people who see us as we truly are, work with people who appreciate us, be in situations where we don't feel we have to shrink, but be in situations where we feel we can expand and be our true self. And I think that this is where, and again, talking about the RemoteGRAD course, this is where it's really important to get clear on what it is what industry, what area it is that you are really interested in, you want to go down. And an example of this is, for example, say you want to do web development, but web development, and you're interested in things like fashion or beauty. Combining the two would look like, okay, if you wanted to work for an employer, combining the two would look like saying, okay, applying for web development roles at fashion companies or for like fashion startups, that kind of idea of niching down on where it is you want to go. I love, like, an analogy that I use is thinking about holidays. Like, when you want to go on holiday, there's different ways to think about going on holiday. but one way of thinking about it is saying to yourself, okay, so like for example, let me use myself as an example. Okay, I'm thinking I want to go on holiday right now. I mean, it's not really possible because of Corona, but thinking, okay, oh, I would love to be in somewhere so warm and beautiful and just like summery. And then from there, I would say, okay, I probably wouldn't be looking at Europe because it's winter right now, winter here right now. But where could I look? Okay, maybe South America, Central America, or I mean Africa. Like looking at the places that are then have that the temperature, the what I want, because it then makes it easier to then narrow down, because then I can say, ooh, I would love to go to Mexico. Actually would love to go to Mexico as well. But ooh, I'd love to go to Mexico. Ooh, I'd love to go to the coast of Mexico. I love to be on a beach, sipping a pina colada. Like, oh, that image, it just sounds awesome. So that's an example of me saying, me niching down where I want to go by first looking at the broader picture and then getting narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower. So that's an example of what I mean, where I say that the importance of getting super clear on where it is, what industry you want to work within, or the kind of just the area that you're really interested in, because that will make if you're looking for a job easier, if you're looking for clients easier. Of course, there's so many different factors that go into this, but yeah, these are just some things to think about. So that was the last thing, the fourth and final point, I should say. And yeah, like I said, I also, just to round this off, I think that we're really living in very, very exciting times. And as we've seen, 2020 has just been, it's been a roller coaster of a year, hasn't it? Like, there's been highs and lows and twists and turns. But I think overall, it's really shown us that actually there is more to life than work. There's more to life than just living. We all want to thrive, and health, as we've seen, is a major part of that. So it's like now where we've seen that our health, or health in general, is being kind of not threatened, but we're made to kind of question how much we value it and things like that. Actually, we start to turn our focus to the things that matter, and the things that matter are, I mean, it varies for everyone, of course, but the general things are family, friends, authenticity, living a life that is in alignment with who you are and what you really want to do. And I really believe that these are exciting times, because now that we have the internet, there's so many avenues to explore. There's so many ways that you can craft, you can create a life and a career that is really fulfilling and is in alignment with who you are. I really think gone are the days, well, not gone are the days, but going are the days. Going are the days where corporate seems to be the only possibility. We're now realizing that there's so many ways to make a living online in a digital-based world, and it really just depends on your mind, the possibilities that you think are open, and you have different avenues to get there. You may do a coding boot camp. You may just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to set aside 3 months. I'm going to build like 10 projects in 3 months. You may just go for it and just start building projects, networking on LinkedIn, reaching out to people. What we're really seeing is that actually the ball is in our court. I love to say power to the individual. Like, there really is no limits. Of course, I know that there's different factors, that there's different variables in terms of where you live, but the beauty of the internet actually is that there's no one you need to ask for permission. There's no one you need to say, am I allowed to do X? Am I allowed to do Y? It's just you learn, you find ways to learn, and you do it. So yeah, I've really enjoyed talking about what I've learned for the four key takeaways I've learned 1 year posting my bootcamp. I hope you have found it insightful, helpful in some way. Let me know if you have. Um, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely evening or morning wherever you are in the world, and take care. Bye.